Hi there. Welcome to another episode of Adventures in Glass with Doug. That's me. This is a channel where I'll put together a video that'll show you how to take thrifted glass and upcycle it, as they say, into some interesting sculptures. These could be things that you might put outside in the garden, in the yard. Maybe they're going to be indoor pieces or tabletop pieces. You might put them out on the deck or patio. But let's look at how we can take some glass pieces that are interesting, but could be even more interesting if they were combined with some others into another sculpture. Be sure to subscribe, please. You'll get notifications of the next video as it comes out, and I always could use extra subscribers. We're kind of pushing closer to 3,000, which is be wonderful. This is an example of how you can get really caught up in this hobby sometimes. As you notice, I've been busy shopping and I've got so many pieces, and this is only part of it, that I think maybe it's time to get started with assembling a little bit more of this and clearing out some of this. Let me talk about some of the pieces I've got, and then we'll do today's sculpture. A couple of these are always neat spheres to pick up. If you find them in a thrift shop, they're usually, you know, a decor item that you would put in a bowl or something, but they're very good toppers. I managed to get a number of those. I picked up a couple of pieces in the gold range. This I thought was a very nice mosaic glass piece. There's another gold piece that I picked up that who knows how I'll incorporate that into something. This piece, you'll recognize this as sort of either a lemonade or a flavored water dispenser. I couldn't pass it up. One of the reasons I kind of like it is because with this spout, I can take that out and I'll have a hole already drilled into the glass that I can use to put in some fairy lights or something of that sort, and then I can seal it back up again. Although I did debate about keeping this up in the house, but we don't really, it doesn't have a lid for it, and we really don't use this in terms of entertaining all that much for iced tea or lemonade. So I see this as a future possibility for putting some lights in and crafting something really cool out of that. Okay, but today we're going to do a sculpture that's really going to involve just three simple pieces. And it'll go together kind of fast, except that I'm going to have to let one of the parts dry a little bit. I have found a couple of these very large jars in the thrift shop, and they are not a through color, meaning the glass, when it was being blown, did not have a color with it. It was clear, and then a color, in this case green and then down into blue, was added afterward. And I'm not sure of the process. It's either a paint or a film that's applied, like a type of shrink wrap. I really don't know. You can usually tell when you get these pieces by looking through the bottom. Bottom generally stays clear, and then you'll get scratches and things in the surface. I don't know that they're always necessarily UV resistant, meaning if you have them outside for a long period of time, it's possible the colors may fade in the sunlight. But I've had good luck with when I found these before. They've held up. This one and another large one that I got both had stickers that they were made from recycled glass in Spain. So apparently that's where these were crafted. So we're going to start with that. Because that's such a large base and very heavy, I think we'll feel pretty confident that it's going to stay stable. Stable enough that I can add another piece to it, this plate, to close off the lid, and then a nice, clear, simple punch bowl on top that will give us a nice basin that we can fill with water. It can either be a typical bird bath, just left like it is, but I have plans to jazz this up even a little more. What we'll do for the interior, I have some fairy lights, and I have a connection for this in the description as to where you can find it. These are solar fairy lights. They have a solar panel. They have a little stake that will fasten to that so you can put it nearby to catch the sun, and a string of tiny little LED lights that will light up. This, I think, is a 50 light string, I believe, that we'll put inside here. So we'll set that up. I'll show you how we do that. That will give it some interesting fairy lights at night. And then daytime, another item that I have used, and you will find it in the description in terms of where do you buy it, are the solar fountains. Try to get, I've been really searching out ones that are about as tiny as you can. I think about, this one I think is a 5-inch, but there are some that are maybe about a 4-inch diameter that sometimes work better in some of these smaller punch bowls. But when you fill that with water and set this in, the sunlight will activate the fountain, and these usually have a number of different fitting choices that will give you different effects. Although I found you have to be careful. If it gets really aggressive on a sunny day, it's going to spray the water out pretty quickly, and your bowl of water will kind of go down rather quickly. But they're a fun addition. I've noticed that the birds really enjoy the ones that I have here in the yard. I've had goldfinches and cardinals and blue jays and tufted titmice, and a lot of them coming over and having their drink of water. Okay, so those are the elements then. We have, and we wouldn't have to do that, but it makes it fun. So we have the solar lights, fairy lights for the large jar, and we have the solar fountain for the bowl on top. Okay, let me just kind of gather things together here and we'll get started. So how do we put all these pieces together? Well, I use silicone, and that's my adhesive. I will put a rim of that around the top here, put the plate on, put a rim of it around the base of the bowl, and the three of those will get glued together, and if I let them dry for a good day, they'll be good and solid. 100% silicone. I have a link in the description. You can try and use things like epoxy. You can even buy it in the larger tubes and use the caulking gun, but that's unwieldy to me. So these smaller tubes I find are much easier to manipulate. Okay, I've kind of cleared out the space a little bit here on my work table, and I've brought the camera in a little closer so you can see a little bit better what we're dealing with here. I think we'll do this without the aid of one of my turntables because of the height that we're dealing with. Now, first step for me is going to be to get the solar lights ready to go inside. Move that to the side. And if you've watched previous videos of me doing this, you'll notice that it's not an easy process. So I may cut away to save you a little bit of viewing time, because these copper wires get a little crazy sometimes. What I like to make sure I can do is spread them out evenly in the jar or the piece that I'm using, and usually that means taking them about halfway, finding a halfway spot and fastening that up top so that you've got kind of a draping effect, because otherwise it'll all just settle in the bottom, and that's not usually what you want for your lights. Feel free to zip ahead if you don't want to watch every... overly complicated here, but really what I want to do, I'm going to make a little loop of the copper wire that's going to give me the ability to glue that down. So we take the silicone, we put a bead of that right in the center of what I just put there. Okay, so we have our fairy lights fastened down about halfway through the string to the, what will be the ceiling, if you will, of this jug, and we'll let that dry, and then we can take and invert this and glue it and get ready to go. All right, I'll be back when that has dried. Well, we're back. The silicone that we put on the plate to hold the fairy light wire about midway has dried, and we're ready to kind of do a dry fit with that inside the jar. Now we're going to get the rest of this in. Like I said, kind of do a dry fit. Part of this was wobbly before. That'll be a good fit. All right. I don't know if we can get much light out of this right now. Okay, you can. I don't know if you can see that, but I think we got pretty good twinkling going on in there. All right, that'll work. So my next step is going to be to fasten that plate down. Slightly to the side. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing here, but I'm going to put a bead of caulk on that matching surface of the bowl. So we've actually rather quickly put together these three pieces. You know, sometimes it doesn't need to be too complicated. We made it a little more complicated by adding these fairy lights. When all of this dries, and perhaps I'll get a chance to take this outside, put some water in it, and show you how it works. But we will end up putting the solar fountain in the bowl, and that'll float in there very nicely and splash up inside that. We can use the solar lights there. We can use the solar lights. These usually have multiple patterns that you can use. I like that one. It looks like fireflies. Some of them will be a little bit more flashy, but I think that's going to look like some fun. So there we have it. Again, I will show you a final shot with it, hopefully outside with some water splashing in it. And I hope that you learned something really quick and easy here. Again, it depends on having the right pieces of glass for it, but keep your eyes open, do some good thrifting. You'll probably end up with more glass than you expected you would, but it's a fun hobby. And if you notice, I've got plenty of videos for you to watch to learn about all of this, and I hope you get some enjoyment out of it. Please subscribe. leave me a few comments if you're interested, and we'll see you on our next project.